After 2 years of presidential vacuum, the Lebanese Parliament has elected Joseph Aoun as the country's new president amid many ongoing challenges. Elsewhere, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, says that hospitals in Gaza have become death traps in light of Israel's continuous targeting of hospitals in Gaza. Welcome to In Focus. Lebanon's Army Chief General Joseph Aoun has been elected president after more than 2-year vacuum at the top position in the country. Aoun, who has been commander of the Lebanese Armed Forces since 2017, secured 99 votes out of 128 during the second round of a parliamentary session called by the Speaker Nabih Berri. During the first round of voting, Aoun received 71 votes, short of the 86 required to become president. In the second round of voting, Shibili Malat earned 2 votes, 9 MPs voted with a white ballot, 5 votes were deemed cancelled, and several MPs voted for the slogan, Sovereignty and Constitution. In his first remarks after being elected, Lebanese new President Joseph Aoun has emphasized the resilience of his nation. President-elect Aoun also outlined his vision for restoring order and stability, calling on all citizens to uphold the rule of law. Aoun also declared that the country will be under the rule of law and there would be no smuggling, drug trafficking, security voids, judiciary interference, protection, or favoritism. And for the further analysis, we are joined from Beirut by Mr. Abdullah Naama, a strategic political analyst. Welcome to Qnews, sir, and welcome to the show. And of course, congratulations at the beginning of this segment. Sir, Lebanon's Army Chief General Joseph Aoun has been elected in a historic day today as the new president. Will this help stabilize Lebanon going forward?
Good evening to you and to all viewers of Qnews, as well as the team here. Certainly today, the election of President Joseph Aoun as a president of the Republic of Lebanon, after 2 years and 3 months without a president for Lebanon. So we should consider today, by the election of President Aoun, as we may say that we have a rebirth of Lebanon, particularly that today, by electing President Joseph Aoun, we all know that he's back from a line that is different from the previous political line, away from the Iranian line, the Syrian regime that bent the establishment of the state for about 30 years.
Sir, how do you read Aoun's statement that today marks the beginning of a new chapter in Lebanon's history?
As we all know, that President Aoun's speech was very good in the parliament. Upon delivering the oath of presidentship, before him several matters that require more work, and I should start with the parliamentary consultation regarding forming a cabinet. And I think that President Mikati will make a visit tomorrow morning with this regard. And we know that President Joseph Aoun came to Lebanon to be a president accompanied with an international and Arab momentum, as well as a Lebanese consensus, as Lebanon is in dire need for a president free of bad linkage. As we all know, he was the commander of the army in Lebanon as a very old and historic establishment from Lebanon. So we salute him to the Lebanese army is, and of course, it's a very clean and professional establishment, thanks to General Aoun, to maintain the unity of the army, the security of the state, and the guarantee of the army leadership throughout the past year of Lebanon. And we know that Lebanon
since 2017, sir, he has been working on this honestly, and he has been very devoting on making the Lebanese, as the commander of the Lebanese armed forces, he has been very devoted on keeping the unity of the Lebanese army. So what are the challenges that lie ahead for the new president, especially in light of the ceasefire agreement that is nearing its end, supposedly on the 25th of Jan, and of course Israel says it will not yet end?
Of course, there are several challenges. Firstly, the deployment of the army in the south of Lebanon and the withdrawal of the Israeli army from the borders, southern areas, and also the issue of collecting the arms from the resistant groups in the Litani area. And as we all know, there are arms in the camps, as stated by the president in his speech, that all these arms should be in the hands of the army. And also another issue, that the reconstruction that should require from the president to be more opening before the Arab nations. And I consider Michel Aoun in power is a guarantee for the Arab and foreign countries, as well as the international community, as they do trust him. Unfortunately, the international community and the Arab leaders do not trust with the Lebanese politicians. So Joseph Aoun in power would open more spaces to assist the southern of Lebanon, and following the Israeli war of losses in the agriculture and the properties of 15 billion US dollar. If the Gulf and the Arab country fostering the president would reach, and of course they did so, they helped him to reach and to be in power due to their trust. A lot of things are waited for President Aoun, but this wouldn't be happening but the Lebanese party that they wish to rebuild the state, they should also foster him. And God willing, we consider that Lebanon is starting a new life, and the president has the characteristics to make him a president, and the Lebanese people with them and support
Mr.
him.
Abdullah, Aoun has promised to control the country's borders and ensure the activation of security services. What steps are necessary for the new president to ensure the security services' effectiveness in protecting Lebanese sovereignty, sir?
It is natural. He spoke about a defensive strategy, and I consider that Hezbollah will be a political party, and it might conclude
Sir, sorry to
the
interrupt you in
Lebanese
this
army.
context. You said you think Hezbollah will be a political party?
Surely, certainly, will be a political party, as they already signed in the resolution 1701, and his signature in that agreement among a complete package and basket for Lebanon includes to go back to the political work and making a defensive strategy with the army in case Lebanon is exposed to any aggression. And we all knew that the Lebanese army should control all the areas in Lebanon and to be free of banned areas of entry and deployment of the Lebanese army. This would be affected by the assistance of all the factions, including Hezbollah.
Great, sir. Aoun is calling for a new defense strategy that will enable the Lebanese state to remove the Israeli occupation from all Lebanese territories, sir. What kind of strategy can we expect?
The defense strategy they used to talk about during President Herawi that should be based on that part of resistance, the resistance will be dismantled, but a portion of it will be integrated with the army as fighters under the article of the special forces for protecting the border guards, and that will be under the power of the premier or the Lebanese army. As we all know, the Lebanese army wouldn't be do anything without any executive orders through the cabinet. So the defense strategy wouldn't give the right to Hezbollah to do anything without the approval of the Lebanese army. That require also a resolution or a decree from the government in case of exposure to any Israeli aggression. So the peace and war resolutions in the hand of the army and the government, and not for Hezbollah only.
Okay, sir, what challenges might Aoun face in implementing his vision for Lebanon's foreign policy, which is, of course, very important at this time for Lebanon and the Lebanese people?
Today, as we all know, all what's happening among an integrated basket of the United States of America, and we consider that Lebanon is under the Arab, European and American sponsorship. So there is a plan for the Middle East, and I think that Hezbollah knows this very well as the Lebanese leaders, all aware that the shape of the region has changed, as we've seen this in Syria and what's happening in Gaza, as well as Lebanon. There is a demographic change has been taking place, and I think Lebanon is going in the same new map for the region. Lebanon is...
Sir, as I have to wrap up this segment because I'm running out of time, I just want to ask you a question, and I want an answer, a direct answer. Are you optimistic and happy today on this very important historic day in the, of course, history of Lebanon?
Certainly, today is one of the most important days in our life. I'm already
True, sir.
53 years old, so the most important day for us is today, the 9th of January, when we elected Joseph Aoun as a president of the Republic. Since I was born, this is the first time for a very independent president away of the foreign affairs. Joseph is a very clean person, as an army commander. All the leaders of the army, for his excellent behaviors, preserved Lebanon. He was going to do all his job to protect Lebanon and all the Lebanese people. If you ask him, single one by one, we all support President Joseph, so the whole nation.
Great, sir. Of course, congratulations and best of luck. And we wish Lebanon and the entire Middle East all stability and security, sir. And of course, Mr. Abdullah Nama, a political analyst, thank you for your valuable knowledge and insights. And now, dear viewers, let's move on to the recent developments in Gaza. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine's Refugees, UNRWA, said recently that hospitals in Gaza have become death traps. In a post on X, UNRWA explained that families in Gaza are torn apart, children are freezing to death, and starvation is cutting lives short. UNRWA's statements come in light of the ongoing bombing and direct targeting of hospitals, as the 3 public hospitals in the northern Gaza Strip, Kamal Adwan, Beit Hanun, and the Indonesian hospital have been rendered out of service due to the Israeli occupation's escalating aggression. According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, only 14 hospitals out of 36 in Gaza are in operation. These hospitals are only partially operational and facing a severe shortage of supplies. And for more analysis, we are joined from Occupied Jerusalem by Ratiba Nacha, a member of the Palestinian National Action Committee. Welcome to Qnews, and of course, thank you for joining us very much. The Israeli occupation forces have launched continuous airstrikes on Gaza, killing at least 50 Palestinians, with 33 out of them in the northern region. What is the current situation on the ground, and how is it affecting civilian life and humanitarian efforts?
Yes, of course, the Israeli bombing is still continuous on different regions on Gaza Strip, targeting civilians from children, women, and men, no matter in the age of or gender. We still under the siege. No fuel is entering to Gaza, and this is make a shortage in the hospital services continuously. Till now, there's a lack of entering of aid to north of Gaza. Some aids enter to the north of Gaza, but still we are talking about a very few things that it's very, very far from the real needs of the people in the medical aids or in fighting the hunger and the starvation that they are facing in the north of Gaza, as well as other parts of Gaza, but mostly in the north of Gaza. People have a little hope now to reach a ceasefire very near, because they hear a lot of achieving some agreements on ceasefire, but still they are afraid, because whenever they have this light of hope of having like a ceasefire for a few days or weeks, for having like for entering AIDS, they shocked always with a plot
When was
of
the last
this.
time that they ever had a ceasefire? When did this happen? They've been bombed
A year
on
ago,
daily
a year ago.
basis everywhere, even in the highly populated civilian areas, every single night. When did the
Yeah,
ceasefire happen?
yeah, I'm talking about a hope of having this in the
You
future,
mean a
because
hope?
what they, yeah, yes, they have the hope of ceasefire in the near future, because they hear a lot of achieving like agreements between the two negotiation groups, the Israeli and the Palestinian one, to have a ceasefire very
Perfect,
soon.
Ms. Nacha.
But
The
still, it
UNRWA
seems.
has described Gaza's hospitals as death traps, with several hospitals being directly targeted by the IOF.
Of
How are
course, yeah.
humanitarian organizations managing to assist the wounded amid such a devastating situation?
Actually, this is what I was saying, that a very, very few aids is entering to Gaza. It's very far from the real needs of the people. Still, more than 12,000 people, they need to be cured or travel outside Gaza to take medical care, as it's a very needed now. But still, we are very far from these needs. The international organizations, the World Health Organization, is still very far from implementing these needs to the people, or help even to supply the hospitals in Gaza with their needs. We have a very large shortage, a huge shortage of these medical aids. Still, we are very far from these things, but I'm saying that a very few enter. That doesn't mean that we are reaching like what we need. We are talking about 3 months of complete siege on north of Gaza. Nothing entered
Exactly.
during these
This is the point
three
that I'm
months.
trying to nail
And
now.
today, a few aids enter, medical aids enter. Still, we are talking about very, very few. It's about 30 maybe trucks or something like that. But the real needs is more than 300. So we are talking about 10% of the needs, of the daily needs, not of the whole needs. But still, we are very far from that. But the hope that the
Ms.
people got,
Nacha,
that
the
the next
children and the women and
intervention.
the civilians are dying now from the cold temperatures and from the rain and from everything and from all the circumstances that are going on. Anyways, with only 14 out of 36 hospitals still partially operating in Gaza, what immediate measures are being taken to address the shortage of medical supplies? And what more is needed from the international community to avoid a complete healthcare collapse as soon as possible? We need interference from the international community. They have to do something about what's taking place.
First of all, they need to have like a way of ceasefire. Without that, we can't start talk about anything else.
Is a
Then we
ceasefire
must
a
find a
solution,
way of entering the
Ms.
AIDS and
Ratiba,
getting
Ms.
down.
Nacha,
Yes.
is a ceasefire a solution? It's not a solution.
No, it's not a solution. I'm
Israel
saying
does
that
not abide to
the
a
first
ceasefire.
Yes, it's the first step that we need to start to say anything before that. We need to end this attack on Gaza Strip, and we need to enter AIDS. We need to people to be traveled out of Gaza to take their medication care out of Gaza, because now we don't have any health system in Gaza. Even if we are talking about 4 hospitals, it's not really a full service in these hospitals. We have a complete collapse in the health system in Gaza, but we can't do anything. Any efforts, it means nothing under the attack. It means nothing under the fire now, and the pumping, continuous pumping in Gaza. So we need to stop these attacks on Gaza as the first step, and entering as much as we could from the aids to Gaza, and to help people to get out for a cure and taking medical care out of Gaza, because it's needed. And then we will start to talk about building the health system, or what we need. We really need. We need equipment to get people out from under the
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 rubble, you
demolished
mean?
building in Gaza as well. We need a lot of things in Gaza. We are very, very far from the needs
Miss.
in Gaza still. But
Okay,
the first
Miss
step will be in ceasefire.
Ms. Ratiba Nacha, member of the Palestinian National Action Committee. Of course, we wish everything is settled as soon as possible and we reach a ceasefire as soon as possible. Thank you for your valuable knowledge and your insights. And that brings us to the end of our episode of In Focus today. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates on Qnews.